Hello to you all. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Hopefully this will work in a minute. So yeah, welcome along to another of our live Instagram interviews. We've got someone watching us, thank you very much. Oh, a few people watching us now. Haha. Feel free to give your country a shout out, and as always, post up any questions. We're going to do our best to cover those as we go along. If this is your first time watching, then feel free to give your country a shout out, and as always.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to step back on the iPad.
If this is your first time watching, then yeah, welcome along. Once we've finished talking today, then yeah, please also check out our previous interviews on IGTV. We've got those on Facebook as well and YouTube, so there's plenty more where this came from. My name's Andy. I've worked at Heritage Parts Centre for 13 years. My job involves meeting people and sharing the stories about their vehicles, their businesses and their passion for their hobby. Today, we're joined by a man who's no stranger to an interview. He's the host of A Face for Radio. It's the excellent VDub radio show. He's also an air-cooled VW hoarder. He's a show organiser. He's a fireman. Please welcome Mr. Anton Murrells.
Good afternoon and good evening, where you are.
Awesome. Thank you very much for joining me.
Can I tell you off from the start?
Go on then. Have I pronounced your name wrong?
No. I'm no longer a fireman. I'm not allowed to be. I'm a firefighter.
Aha.
So yeah, obviously, gender-specific jobs are no longer accepted in this snowflake world.
I stand corrected, sir.
Yes, but we are allowed snowmen apparently still, so that's not a bad thing.
So this isn't a radio show. We don't play music, but if it was, what would your entrance music be?
An intro song.
Oh,
and that was put myself on airplane mode. Obviously, people watching, and my phone started dinging.
Just a bit of turbulence.
So, an intro song.
Yeah. As if you're walking into the ring.
I don't know. Obviously, I did actually once sign up for a fire brigade boxing match, and Thou Shall Not Cry, or Little Sister, was from the 80s film The Lost Boys.
Okay, yeah.
That was going to be my ring walk song, but probably more now than before. Britney Spears, Oops, I Did It Again. We'll touch on this a little bit later, I know.
So, on a more serious note, let's start with cars. So, anyone who follows you on Facebook or Instagram will be familiar with your Oops posts. You seem to have a habit of buying cars. How many have you got currently?
Because I knew you was going to ask this question, and a lot of people ask it, I had to go and physically count them. So on Volkswagens currently, I'm up to 17.
Oh, just that?
It's just 17, yeah. 17. 16 of them are air-cooled, and then just my T5 as a daily driver. And then, I've got a couple of motorbikes. I've got an old 944, which is being restored, a 1959 Goliath station wagon. And then me and a buddy, we've got shares in a few Willis Jeeps together. So, yeah, quite an eclectic taste I've got in motors.
Awesome. Most of your collection, I think, comes in from the US, is that right?
Yes, yeah, the majority of them I bought from California. I'm lucky enough that with the job that I do, I get quite a bit of time off work. So taking 4 days off work gives me 12 days off in total.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Before the little one come along, I'd literally tell them this is what we've got next week planned. Jump on an aeroplane, go to the States for 4 days. And people collect fridge magnets. I collect air-cooled Volkswagens.
When did you import your first car, and has much changed since then with regards to kind of paperwork and stuff like that?
Not a lot has really changed in terms of the paperwork that you do. Company Kingstown Shipping, free plug for them. Really good company to have behind me with the imports. They've helped me out from day one, when it's quite nerve-wracking to send a lot of money out to America to buy a car, to now where I don't bat an eyelid anymore. Don't get me wrong, I'm not rich and I don't want to lose thousands of pounds, but it is just as easy as buying a bag of sweets now for me. As for when I first started importing, it was probably about 2002, 2003. I was then a carpet fitter, and my partner at the time used to import cars called Dodge Caravans. They were like a people carrier.
Yeah.
He invited me out there to go with him on the trip. Just sold 67 23 window Samba, and I bought 4 cars. And that's it. I was hooked.
So, 4 in, 1 out. That's how you got to 17.
Pretty much, 1 out, 4 in.
Yeah.
2 Karma gears and 2 split single pickup, single cabs. And the rest is history.
And does it still make financial sense, even with once you've taken the shipping into account, I guess, to do it? Or are you doing it for the love of the cars now rather than to...
I'm actually doing it because it's an addiction. It's not that I love the cars, because I really hate them. I mean, the noise, oily, drippy things. Why would anyone like a Volkswagen, really? I just don't get it. There's a lot more cars out there, a lot better for the same sort of money. So it's a bit of a game. It's like, if there's a car that I think's cool and that I like it, I know somebody else is going to like it.
Yeah.
And it's more about me getting it for my price than it is for the fact that I need another car in the collection.
Yeah.
And in terms of, is it easier, is it harder, and is it worthwhile financially? The dollar's a lot stronger against the pound than it was when we first started. The cost of shipping's gone up. But you are buying cars with minimal rust on them. And the cost of welding, cost of panels these days is ridiculous. So I'd recommend it to everybody. Not buy them off of me instead.
Are you working towards a dream garage, or is the problem you just can't turn down a bargain?
My dream garage would probably be about 17 cars less than I've got at the moment, and a hot tub. I'm lucky. I've got a 56 Karmann gear, the low light gear, that I've owned for about 14, 15 years. And it's gone from having a 1500 in it to a 1641, 2332. It's now got a 2.3 fuel injected turbo motor in it. It is my dream car. And if I had to sell everything in the world, that would be the thing I try to sell last. I've had the barn doors, I've had the splits, I've had pretty much every Volkswagen that I want to own. And there isn't really a dream now. Karmann gear, I'm happy with that. I'm not greedy. It's just a man with 22 plus cars. I'm not greedy.
Do you are you kind of are you finding cars which are for sale, or are you sort of digging and probing and just sort of trying your luck? So are you just going on the Samba going, oh, that looks cool on classifieds, or is it a bit more without giving your secrets away?
It's as simple as I've got a 4-year-old that loves to watch Mickey Mouse Club and all the Disney films. So while she's watching those entertained, I've kind of got my phone here and having a look. I just tend to have a look at what's available. Something pops up that seems interesting at a price that the bank manager won't cry about, and I'll make a bid for it. I've not, obviously, because of this silly pandemic that's going around, I've not been able to get out to America for 18 months or so. I tend to do more of the homework when I'm out there. I use an American website called Craigslist that I would never ever send money to somebody on there from. It's not like the Samba or eBay where you can see someone's been a member for 10 years. Anyone can pop up on Craigslist and put an advert up, send money out, and never see it again. But I've got some real good friends out in the States that I trust, and I'll wire them some money or send them money via PayPal. Other options are available for sending money out to other countries. And they'll pop along and haggle and buy it for me.
Cool.
So I'll give a shout out to Daniel for that. Daniel's my man at the moment. He's worse than a drug pusher. He really is. He was messaging me late last night and early this morning going, what about this one? You can have one more. It's a bit of a competition. I've told him I'm not buying any more cars until I've sold a couple. I'm really trying to stick to that. So it's his job now to make me cave in and buy something.
Does he get to drive around in them before they come over? Is that his kickback?
Most of them don't work. We just bought a 57. I think it's a 57. Looking at the numbers, low light convertible, so really early gear, for a friend of ours out in Belgium. Well, it was nearly a 3,000-mile round trip for him. So, yeah, he's promised me he's never going to do that again. So I've now got to find something further away. But I have just bought a 65 split screen bus off of the TV program American Pickers.
Okay.
I've not put any photographs of it out there yet, so only the very few people that are in my inner circle know what van it is. That's due to come over probably end of March, April time. He's been driving that around a little bit. And managed to break down on his first trip out in it. Again, these reliable Volkswagen. Yeah,
exactly. So once you've got them back here, do you restore them, or you then just sell them on as projects? Or
I don't do either. I don't restore them, and I don't
you
sell
just keep them.
Yeah, they're lovely garden ornaments. Well, we live in quite a nice country lane. We're a few rich people around us, so when the people that kind of come up and burgle the house see the rusty old cars, they go somewhere else to nick all their stuff. It always looks like a traveller's yard, so we're a big dog. I haven't really had time in the last 4 or 5 years to get my hands as dirty as I wanted to.
Yeah.
Bailey, my 4-year-old daughter, helps out with the radio show. She wasn't planned, so with my shift pattern, I work 2 days, 2 nights, 4 off. If I'm not working daytimes, I've got her around me, which is great. Yeah. I love her to pieces. You know, I'd recommend it to everyone. She's really infectious when it comes to making people smile. She doesn't really let me go and hide in the garage for hours on end. So I haven't done too much of the hands-on work myself. My mates, again, know me. I'm not particularly great at things. I can take things apart really well. Putting it together again, I'm calling in a lot of favours. But I do have a few friends that have got their own Volkswagen businesses. So mate of mine up in Doncaster's got 2 of my gears at the moment. Richie up in Middlesbrough's got my 54 Oval. So we do get work done to them. But the idea is keep it for 8 years, watch it rust away, and then flip it.
And is everything for sale? So if someone knocks on the door tomorrow and says, "What about that?"
Without doubt, yeah, they'll turn up. They'll want to buy whatever it is they're pointing at, and I'll send them away with 2 or 3 more. Everything has a price. Yeah. If your mum's listening or watching, she's got a price as well. Although I have got a car in her garage as well.
Naturally.
Yeah, that's what parents are for.
Whenever I do one of these interviews, I like to chuck in a couple of questions about when people were growing up. So, what did you want to do for a job when you were a kid?
I'll tell you when I'm grown up. When I was at school, and you get that careers day, don't you? All I ever wanted to do was do karate for Great Britain.
Okay.
I run a local karate club. I started
in your spare time.
In my spare time, yeah. That's how I met the wife, actually. She beat me into submission after 17 years. I started there in 1985 after watching the film The Karate Kid. And obviously with all Cobra Kai everyone loves at the moment, it's quite cheesy. So my sole interest at the time was I want to fight for England. I didn't really care what I was going to do for a living. There wasn't anything I wanted to do. And I was very fortunate that I was training 6 days a week, had the backing of my family. For the British Karate Association, I did manage to get in the GB squad.
Oh wow!
A story that I'll tell you about us entering the European Championships when we're not on air. So we got kicked out of that. So karate was always my passion, always something I wanted to do. Whatever, 36 years later, I'm still training. My first real job was working on a market stall in Penge. Hence why I like to buy and sell things. Then did become a carpet fitter, worked for Allied Carpets, and then just fell back into the fire brigade. So very few actual proper jobs I've had. More embarrassing one. I used to work at Wimpy fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
And I used to dress up as Mr. Wimpy for kids' parties.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was great fun. Yeah. So no dream job. Sorry, maybe working for Heritage.
What or who was it that got you involved in cars then?
When we had the market stall in Penge, my granddad was a barber.
Okay.
Outside his shop was Penge Fruit and Veg Market. So we'd go over and visit him, and then we made our own stall outside. And we always used to drive past a car lot, and there was a bright, sparkly purple beach buggy. I know I was 16 years old, and I remember it to this day. And my dad wouldn't let me buy it. It was £1,000. One of my aunties had just passed away and left me £1,000 in the will, and I was like, I want the car. And he's like, don't be stupid. Wouldn't let me buy it. I weren't particularly happy with him. But the reason he wouldn't let me buy it that I didn't know about was he had already bought me a Mark IV Ford Cortina.
Okay.
Probably stealing your later questions. That was my first car that I ever had at 16. Was a beige and brown with beige velour interior Mark IV 4-door Cortina.
Beautiful.
1600 GL. Brilliant car. Yeah. Just as rusty as all these Volkswagens we own now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of got me into cars that we drive past it day in, day out, and I wanted it and couldn't have it. So it was always that itch I needed to scratch to own an old Volkswagen.
What was the first one you bought then? VW?
The first Volkswagen I bought myself was a Mark I Golf convertible.
Okay.
It was a hairdresser's car. And actually I bought it from my ex-girlfriend who was a hairdresser. We'd split up and she owed me some money, so we did a deal and I got the car. And then after that, another ex-girlfriend, seems like there's a reason that my girlfriends are exes, she'd gone off to university and had a Beetle in her garage, a 1303S called Harriet, that she wanted restored but couldn't afford it. So I bought that off of her, drove it home with running on 2 cylinders and no floors. Restored it, and that was it. Hooked. Got to meet a lot of people through that.
Cool. Is there a car you massively regret selling?
No, not a single car. And I've had a few. I can't say that from an emotional attachment or anything like that. Not really. Friends of ours, Pete and Sharon, they've got the 21st of August 1967 twin slider that I brought over from California. I'd have it back, but I don't regret selling it.
Yeah.
Financially, I had an old 67 912 at one point, the tangerine colour. And it drove exactly the same as my Gear. So I thought it's a bit pointless of me having both of them. So I swapped that for a split single cab. And of course, 2 years later, Porsche's doubled in prices. Then they doubled again. And I'd probably have to sell 3 or 4 cars now to get myself back into air-cooled Porsches if that was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But no.
It's good you've not got the regrets about it though.
No sellers, of course.
There's
always another one I'll go and buy instead.
Tell us a bit about VW Radio. So it popped up on our scene, I guess, a few years ago, wasn't it? And kind of
VDubRadio was 2 years old a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
So 2 members of our club, the Paint Scrapers, Tony and Simon, they've been pirate DJs and got involved with radio station, and they've got a studio down in Mepham in Kent. Behind the scenes, they were just, there's got to be something for the Volkswagen scene. They love the radio, they love the Volkswagen scene. And they just put 2 and 2 together and come up with VDubRadio, which, for how long we've all been in the scene, why has no one done anything like it before? It's so simple, especially like with the days of the internet, how hard it is to spin a tune on the internet. So they launched, say, 2 years ago, invited members of the club down to go to the launch, and they wanted somebody that knew a little bit about Volkswagens, which is obviously myself. And they invited me to be interviewed by them. During the interview, people listening was saying how good Tony was at his interview techniques, and said that I could do a better job. So 2 weeks later, they put me to the test and gave me my own show. Yeah, and say I'm like a bad smell. I'm still there now.
Cool. No, it's good. Yeah, I've enjoyed it a lot, and because while I'm working away, have that on in the background. It's good.
Yes. Well, we did threaten to try to get you on to interview once upon a time.
Yeah. Be good to
maybe after lockdown, we'll come and do an open day with you. We'll supply the news, and we'll do some interviews. Yeah,
sounds fun. Well, for that. What one thing do you think you've learned from your involvement with the radio station?
I've got a fat tongue. I've got a Jamie Oliver tongue. I know, like, you know, when you're sitting there at a car show having a chat with someone, it's easy. You stick a microphone in front of me, and all of a sudden my tongue swells up. It's too big for my mouth. You know, I start.
Yeah.
And you know, so yeah, I've also learned that, and never trust your guests. You know, I'm very aware of what language you use. I guess because I've got a 4-year-old daughter. The 19-year-old son really doesn't care what I say anymore because he doesn't talk to me, you know, like most teenagers. But you watch your language around 4-year-olds. When I'm sitting in a room, a recording studio with a guest, that they think it's just you two having a chat, and sometimes potty mouths do appear. So yeah, live you've got to be careful.
Yeah.
We're not. Danny Allen, he was a very, very bad potty mouth. Naughty boy.
We've been pretty good so far on here for people behaving. So,
you haven't also got to watch what lyrics are being said in songs, have you?
That's true. Yeah, I've not got to worry about that.
No.
So we touched on earlier that you're now a fire person. So how's firefighter? I'm sorry. Yeah. How's that been during the pandemic? Is it noticeably busier or quieter because of it, or business as usual?
Just recently, as in like since this side of Christmas, it has been a lot quieter. You know, people aren't setting fire to their houses or aren't crashing cars. Which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, no one wants anybody to get hurt. But during last year, work-wise, for emergency response calls, we wasn't really any quieter. But you would notice that the calls were different.
Yeah.
So, in the area that we are, there's quite a lot of high-rise buildings. Well, people decided they were having barbecues on their balconies. You know, just for the record, it's not a good idea.
No, that sounds good.
So passers-by see a lot of smoke coming from a balcony. For what is a harmless barbecue, you will get 6 fire engines turn up. You know, £400 an hour for a fire engine, that's a lot of wasted money. So there was more things like candle fires, barbecues, those sort of things than proper house fires. Just different sorts of jobs, really.
I guess it's good that you're not busy, really.
Yeah, so it's really wrong. We like to be busy at work. You know, we get the adrenaline rush from when the bells go down and you've got a fire. But it sounds horrible that we want to go out and do that sort of thing when it's somebody's house and personal possessions that are at risk from it. You know, it's tough. Yeah, but us firefighters, we're a little bit loose in the head. Yeah, anyone that's running into a burning building when everyone else is running away from it, they're not right, are they?
Do you get many shots with a stereotypical cat in a tree? I'm 16, 17 years in now. And in that time, I've only ever had one cat stuck in a tree. So the normal response is, how many dead cats do you see in trees? Yeah, you don't. When a cat's had enough being in a tree, the cat will come down. Come out.
Yeah. Or the way we're supposed to get them out is to squirt them out with a hose reel, which isn't good because most people that own cats are a little bit crazy, aren't they? And the last thing you want to do is get their little cat wet. I wanted to say pussy wet then, but I won't. Get a cat wet by squirting it out because they're going to scratch your eyes out. But just the quick story with this cat up a tree. My boss was a 19-stone lump of a man, like a proper bodybuilder. And he's trying to sweet talk this woman and going, did you see it go up? And she's like, no, I didn't see it. So it might have come down on its own. Behind her, I'm like this. The woman's like, did you hear that? Did you hear it? And he's looking at me. So we got our thermal image camera out, heat seeking, and the cat was in the tree. So if I hadn't been a little bit of a joker and took the mick, this cat would have been up there still. So yeah, one cat up a tree in 16 years, not too bad.
So I seem to recall kind of seeing pictures of you running a Beetle at Santa Pod. Would you rather go camping or racing?
It was a Carman gear, strangely enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a 69 Carman gear, had a 1900 lump in it, done a 1246 just on the engine, and done the 1159 with the 50 shot of nitrous. Just, there you go, with the Outlaw flat fours. Yeah, 3 years racing with them, good bunch they are. But I'm not a racer. You know, I'm definitely more, I'm into people. So yeah. I'd much rather camp and talk to people than be the boring one that sits inside a car, can't enjoy themselves. I mean, I rarely drink now anyway, but if you're out racing for a weekend, you know, you can't have a drink until you've broken your car or at the end of the day. Yeah, my mechanical skills aren't great. So again, yeah, I'd rely on other people to tell me which end the oil goes in and which one the fuel is. Yeah, so I'd much rather be sitting around a campfire or walking around the field talking to total strangers, which my wife often reminds me when we're walking around Tesco, not everyone owns a Volkswagen. I'll randomly be talking to people and she's like, you can't do that. You know, why not? I've got a Volkswagen t-shirt on.
They signed up for it.
Quite good. I wear a mask now, so I'm not allowed to talk to people. That restraining order as well keeps me 2 meters away from most lot.
So yeah, you mentioned kind of obviously shows and stuff. Can you tell us a bit about Grill and Chill? How did that come about, and have you got any plans to try and do something maybe later this year?
Grill and Chill. So last year was supposed to be our 10th show. We started because there was no local shows for us in Kent. Peppercorn, which was you know, one of the best shows that a lot of people have ever been to, such a chilled, relaxed atmosphere. It was in there last year. Bug Loving had done one event at the Hot Farm after being somewhere else for the year before. So there was literally nothing for us. Friends of ours, Jane Terry, they've got a business, Volks Farmers. They're down near Canterbury, Elam. Yeah. They had put on an event called Farm Fest, VW Farm Fest. And sorry, Jane, if you're listening, it was dire. It was proper. You know, think of the worst show you've been, and then you know you're not anywhere near close. But it was a lovely location, and she had been asking local clubs for ages, like to help her out with the event. And Hazard were the local club at the time. We're 60-mile drive away from her.
Yeah.
But again, like you probably noticed, I've got a big mouth, and I was like, yeah, we'll help you out. But if you've been to this show before, you will never go again. So we said we'd have to change the name of the show and then start inviting people. So we did that. We come up with Chill and Grill. I went away snowboarding, come back on holiday, and 3 guys that run it with us had changed the name from Chill and Grill to Grill and Chill, because you grill first and then you chill.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if you chill first, you're never going to bother to get around to grilling, are you? Yeah, so we put the show on at her place. She cancelled it 2 months before the event. She went, right, you're not doing it. You're putting on a big music festival. You're not telling me anything. So then we had to try to find another venue. We approached Port Lymph Safari Park. And then the lady that ran the farm said, okay, you can do it. Well, put it on, 700 people in the field. Brilliant, loved it. The following year, the lady that worked at the safari park had then gone to work at the Hot Farm. They approached us and said, do you want to do it at our venue? Again, growing up in the Volkswagen scene, VW Expo was at the Hot Farm.
Yeah.
So for us to go there and get to a place that we'd been and done shows at, to put our own event on there, was like, oh, we made it. So we went there knowing that we had a very limited budget. Hot Farm worked with us for the first 4 years. They did us a percentage on takings deal. Yeah. And it just doubled year on year. We went from say 700 to 1,500 to 3,000 to 4,000, and we still try to keep it small. We don't want to be a 10,000 people show. Yeah. We're about 4,500 unique visitors now. Because then you can manage it. It's still a friendly event. You kind of know lots of people, and it just does what it says on the tin. Yeah, Grill and Chill. Is that your question? I forgot now.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think obviously the unanswerable question about have you got any plans to do anything later this year?
We've never done anything about our event until after the end of March anyway. We've always tended to launch the ticket sales at the Volkswagen show, which has been postponed again this year, hasn't it? Yeah. So I can't see anything really happening show-wise until at least June onwards here in the UK, which still gives us a good 3-4 months to plan it. I reckon come June, July, we'll know what's going on. If it's really restricted again, there's no point in doing it because it won't have the right feel of the event. No. There's no point in us putting on half a show. Yeah, it's got to be what Grilling Chew is. Otherwise, we won't do it. So it's not worth the headache. Financially, we don't earn any money from it. It's a non-profit making show. So yeah, why give yourself all that headache and heartache? Selling tickets, getting people's hopes up, only to have to cancel it 4 weeks before the event. Watch this space.
Cool. We kind of touched on this earlier. So if you could chop all the cars and parts in for a house of your dreams and just have one plaything in the garage with the caveat you're not allowed to buy anymore, would you do it? And what would be in the garage?
The short answer is no, I wouldn't do it. I don't think I could possibly just own one car. There's been conversations about where will my addiction stop or the buying and stuff. And ultimately, if I could have 3 cars for myself and then 3 to flip, so there's always 3 coming in and going out. That's probably the ideal world I'd have. I just don't think that I could possibly cope just having one car. Like I said, I'm a camper. I'd rather go camping than I would go racing. So I would need something like a camping. Nothing excites me enough, really. Would I want a 23 window barn door? Not really, because they're a pain in the backside when you're driving with all the light flashing in through those roof lights. They're not the most comfortable thing in the world to keep in. Sorry, I'm quite happy with what I've got. We've already discussed like where we live. It's a lovely area. We're the cheapest house in the nicest road. We're never going to move. We've had the conversation. We love it here. The neighbours are all lovely as well. So we're not far off having that dream house. If you saw it, it looked like a nightmare house though. It's absolutely ugly, that little bungalow. So it's a flat roof, Yorkstone cladding, it's falling down, but I can fit 17 cars on the drive and I've got a 3-car garage. I don't care what the inside or the outside looks like of the house now. So I wait for her to come in and slap me if you see him. My last question. If you could drive any car on any road with anyone, dead or alive, what, where and whom would it be with? You were kind enough to give me a bit of a heads up on this question. And I promised myself I wouldn't get too emotional. So 2 years ago, we lost my dad to cancer. I'm thankful that it was a real short illness. We found out he had it in January, March he'd gone. So what I would do is I would choose probably my dad's old Mercedes and I would drive him to my mum's house and let my mum and dad have a drive around. I know my mum would do anything to have 5 minutes with him again. So I'd give that up in a heartbeat for her. So there you go.
Cool. Nice work.
Sorry, I'm a bit of a comedian most of the time, but sometimes there's a bit of a serious side to me.
I lost my dad to cancer a few years ago as well, so I can 100%.
Yeah, it's hard, there's been a few good people recently this year in the Volkswagen scene that we've lost to it as well. The German folks guy, Carlos, he passed a couple of weeks ago. It's just a horrible disease. Just watching people, they aren't the same person. They're just a shell of the person they used to be. Yeah. So anyone going through it, I really feel for you all now.
100%. So we'll end on that cheery note. Sorry, guys. Massive thanks for joining me, Anton. And entertaining my questions and.
If I could, can I just do a bit of a name drop for us?
Of course you can, sir.
So my show is normally on VDubRadio, VDub, VDub.com, VDubRadio.com, sorry. It's on a Saturday morning between 10 and 11. I play cheesy music, proper 80s, 90s cheese. I don't play anything serious there. But I am also just going to be doing a Tuesday night show, 2 for Tuesday. So 2 songs, 1 artist, 6 till 7 on a Tuesday night. Yeah, that's it really. Listen to my show, take the mic, do what you like. Can't take any notes of me.
For people wanting to follow you, they can find at VDub Radio on Instagram, and also at Switch360 for your own stuff.
Sorry, Instagram. I don't really post a lot on Instagram as much as I do on Facebook. So most of my oopsies are on Facebook, and I tend not to share what cars they are. I just put the word "oops" up, and then people know. So if anyone is looking for a Carmen gear or a Beetle, let me know.
You got a few. If there's anyone out there interested in chatting live with myself or Steph, then please drop us a DM. We can have a chat about getting you on. Massive thanks to everyone for watching, giving us a wave and all the rest. Yeah, most appreciated. We'll be saving this chat to our stories, our IGTV, putting it onto Facebook and also onto YouTube as well, so you can catch any bits you missed. Give it a like, drop a comment, tag a mate. We'll see you all again soon. Take care, stay safe. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Andy. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye-bye.